For years, Bull has been a bottom-of-the-barrel brawler, difficult to play, complete super feeder for the enemy, and one of the all-time weakest brawlers out there. I'm willing to bet that unless you're one of those trophy addicts or ladder warriors, so to speak, you barely ever bother to push him. In fact, most of you find him fun to play but aren't interested in pushing him, probably because doing so seems like such a tall order since everything except Mortis seems to counter Bull. But we have people like Mastermind Shay, aka Mastermind D'Arc, who can go as far as dodging Shelly Supers in her face. So how do they do it? I went through 500 Bull clips by Mastermind and here's what I found. First of all, matchups. In all of his videos, Mastermind always avoids throwers because Bull's lack of range outmatches him against brawlers that can hit him from far away. For the same reason, he avoids ranged HRF brawlers or brawlers with a higher rate of fire or DPS like Colt, Rico, and Dynamite. Other tanks usually aren't a problem for Bull since he does much more damage in a single shot than every other tank in terms of unload speed. But being a tank, he's faced with the ever-persistent issue of being a supercharger, which is coincidentally one of the biggest mistakes inexperienced players make. When playing Bull, much like Mortis, juking and taking cover is very important. Both of those brawlers need to be quite close to their enemies and both have roughly the same range. But also because you could end up charging enemy supers since if you're not actively seeking shelter, you're a prime target. And also, much like Mortis, players try to avoid Bull at close range encounters, which makes sense considering that both Bull and Mortis do a terrific job of killing enemies at close range. This means that by just standing behind a wall, you're already putting a ton of pressure onto the enemy team in that lane, making them nervous to come near you. You can leverage this fact to move in on them as well as when pushing up the map. The other essential skill is juking, which again, much like Mortis or any short ranger, honestly is helpful to have in more open maps. But of course, when he's doing this, Mastermind makes sure to avoid being a super feeder, because Bull can survive for as long as he wants, but if he ends up feeding a Tara super or a Fang super or something like that, it's going to be detrimental to his team. The only times you should be rushing with Bull is if your own teammates have and can keep good control, because if your teammates fall right off the bat, then your rush is gonna be a waste, especially in goal-oriented modes like Brawl Ball and Heist. Mastermind is also watchful of when he moves in. He always waits for the enemy's ammo to run out before making a move. This ensures that he can deal maximum damage and take minimum damage. But of course, the most impressive part about Mastermind and any other Bull player's plays is the super. While we think of Bull's super being clunky and clumsy, that's usually because we're using it wrong. In reality, Bull's super can be very deadly, so let's take a look at how Mastermind goes about using his super. First and foremost, he never uses his super without having any ammo in his clip. This is because Bull can charge his super back in roughly 3 shots. So if you hit 2 targets with your super and use 1 ammo, that means your next super is ready. But here's the problem. The Bull super is notorious for being one of the easiest things to dodge since it's slow and travels a long distance. So how do pro Bull players always manage to connect their supers? It comes down to what Mastermind calls strain and angle. Strain is basically how restricted an enemy's movements are. If they're freely moving around in an open area, Mastermind doesn't super them. What he does super are enemies that have little freedom to move. Maybe those stuck against a wall in a corner or those really close to him. The point is that Mastermind only ever supers enemies whose movements are restrained in some way. He also uses Bull supers kind of like Daryl rolls. Once you charge it back up, quickly move to the next target, or to quote the man himself, it's better to hit your very near or nearest opponent with Bull super and then go on another opponent and hit that super. Basically, if there are multiple enemies that you can super to, always target the closest one first. Charge your second super off of that brawler and move in on the next, as opposed to blindly supering into 3 people. The other part of Bull supers is called the angle. When enemies see a Bull super coming, their immediate instinct, according to Mastermind, is to move either to the sides or behind. Most of the time, this movement is leftwards, which is why Mastermind always supers enemies at an angle and never head on. When he aims his super slightly to the target's left side, this means that he can catch them as they try to dodge. But of course, keep the rule of strain in mind before angle. If you angle yourself to the left, it also gives them only one option to dodge, which is backwards. Your enemies generally know that if you hit them head on, you'll use the stomper on them, which is part of the reason why they tend to run backwards. It happens 80% of the time, and it's like the perfect moment to do super. This is also how he manages to dodge Shelly Supers, but this is not an invitation to go and attack every Shelly you see, alright? If you know that auto-aiming Bull super will connect, then it's preferred to auto-aim as that makes it easy for you to focus on just the red button. The ideal auto-aim distance for any brawler is usually about 7 tiles, so if your target or your next target is within 7 tiles of you, don't hesitate to auto-aim your super. Another important point, and this is more relevant to modes like bounty and gem grab, is that after you super the gem carrier or the player with the highest bounty, never waste your ammo by spamming, because remember, you need to be able to get the gems or stars, recharge your super and use it to escape. You don't want to waste too much ammo and just be going 2v1 and dying. In such situations, you also have to remember to aim your shots in order to recharge your super as quickly as possible. This video was made, of course, in collaboration with Mastermind D'Arc himself, so go check out his channel, link to the description. Z out.